The snow fell softly that December evening, blanketing the small mountain town of Cedar Ridge in pristine white. Sarah Mitchell stood at her cabin window, watching the flakes dance in the amber glow of her porch light. At 24, she had learned to find beauty in simple moments like these. Her modest log cabin sat at the edge of town, inherited from her grandmother, along with more memories than money. Sarah worked 2 jobs, mornings at the local diner and afternoons cleaning offices, just to keep the lights on and the wood stove burning. A gentle knock interrupted her thoughts. Through the frosted glass, she could see 2 figures huddled against the cold. Sarah opened the door to find a man in his early 40s, his dark hair dusted with snow, holding a sleeping boy of perhaps 6 years old. The child was wrapped in a blue plaid shirt and nestled against his father's protective embrace. "I'm so sorry to bother you," the man said, his voice weary but kind. "I'm David, and this is my son Tommy. Our car broke down about a mile back. The mechanic won't be able to help until morning, and—" He paused, looking down at his sleeping child. "The motels are all full because of the holiday season." Sarah noticed how the man's coat, though well-made, couldn't hide his exhaustion. Tommy stirred slightly in his father's arms, and something in that moment reminded her of her own childhood, of being small and needing shelter from life's storms. "Please, come in from the cold," she said without hesitation. Stepping aside, David's relief was visible. "Are you sure? We don't want to impose—" "Nonsense," Sarah replied, already moving to close the door behind them. "I've got hot soup on the stove and a warm couch. That's more than enough." As they settled inside, Tommy woke slowly, blinking at the unfamiliar surroundings with the wonder only children possess. Sarah knelt down to his level. "Hi there, sweetie. Are you hungry?" The boy nodded shyly, and Sarah smiled. "I make pretty good grilled cheese sandwiches. Would you like one?" While she prepared their meal, David explained they were traveling back home to Seattle after visiting his elderly mother. He spoke with quiet gratitude about simple things. A warm room, the kindness of strangers, the way his son's face lit up at small gestures. "You have a beautiful home," David observed, noticing the handmade quilts and family photographs that adorned the living room. "It was my grandmother's," Sarah replied, ladling soup into bowls. She always said a house becomes a home when you fill it with kindness. That evening, they sat around Sarah's small table, sharing stories and gentle laughter. Tommy told Sarah about his school and his pet hamster named Buttons. David listened to Sarah's tales of growing up in Cedar Ridge, of learning life's lessons through her grandmother's patient wisdom. When it came time for sleep, Sarah insisted David and Tommy take her bedroom while she made do with the living room couch. "The boy needs a proper bed," she said simply, and David knew better than to argue with such gentle determination. In the morning, Sarah woke early to prepare breakfast. She found David already up, quietly adding logs to the fire so she wouldn't wake to a cold house. "Thank you," he said simply, "for everything." Over pancakes and coffee, Tommy chattered excitedly about the snow angels they could make, but David knew they needed to continue their journey home. The mechanic had called. Their car was ready. As they prepared to leave, David pulled out his wallet. "Please let me pay you for your hospitality." Sarah shook her head firmly. "Kindness isn't something you charge for." David studied her face for a moment, seeing something rare in today's world, genuine goodness that asked for nothing in return. He tucked his wallet away and instead pulled out a business card. "If you ever need anything," he said, pressing it into her hands. "Anything at all." Sarah glanced at the card absently, focusing more on Tommy's tight hug goodbye than the words printed there. After they left, she tucked it into her kitchen drawer without really reading it. Months passed. Spring brought new challenges when Sarah learned that her second job was ending. The office building had been sold. She worried quietly about making ends meet, but faced each day with the same quiet strength her grandmother had taught her. One afternoon, a knock came at her door. Sarah opened it to find a woman in a business suit, holding official-looking papers. "Ms. Mitchell, I'm Jennifer Walsh from the Henderson Foundation. We'd like to speak with you about a scholarship opportunity." Sarah blinked in confusion. I think you have the wrong person. I never applied for any scholarship. Jennifer smiled warmly. Someone applied on your behalf. For the education program you've always dreamed of pursuing. Later that evening, Sarah sat at her kitchen table, staring at the scholarship papers that would allow her to train as a social worker, something she'd mentioned in passing to David that snowy night, a dream she'd nearly forgotten. She opened her drawer and pulled out David's business card, really reading it for the first time. David Henderson, CEO, Henderson Foundation. The next day, her phone rang. Sarah? David's familiar voice was warm with happiness. I hope you don't mind that I reached out to help. David, I can't accept this. It's too much. You gave us shelter.